Dragons have been around in LEGO for a long time, whether it's Castle or Ninjago, and they're going to be a super important part of the MOC I'm building for the island of Berk. So today, we are going to take a closer look at some LEGO dragons and some custom ones I built for the MOC. Over the years, I've collected a lot of LEGO dragons, and I'm actually going to be using some official LEGO sets in this MOC due to budget and time constraints, but some of these aren't really going to fit, so Smaug's gotta go, the Ninjago skeleton dragon, and this cute creator one are probably not going to get used in the MOC. I also really like this original LEGO dragon. I'm not sure if we're going to use him in there, but it's a possibility. Let's take a look at some of the custom dragons I'm going to be making for this build. Of course, we have Toothless. This is the original dragon I built from the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, and he is one of my favorite creations I've done. This is the original build I did in stud.io or Studio, Bricklink's online software. But let's look at some other dragons I've made too. This is Stormfly, Aster's dragon from the franchise, and the next dragon we're going to be building for this model. This is the file I made in Bricklink Studio, and I think she turned out really well. I love the spikes, but I think there are a few tweaks I'm going to make before we have her in the MOC officially. This next dragon is the Fireworm. I actually have two models here. There's a larger one that is not minifig scale, and the little smaller one over here is minifigure scale. I am super excited to reveal the beginnings of the Scaldron. This is one of my favorite dragons from the How to Train Your Dragon franchise, and I've been working to build this one as well. I really like the shaping on this so far, and he still needs a couple wings and a few more details, but this one is going to be a great part to the build in the water of the MOC. And of course we have to have the Light Fury, an integral part of the phase 2 of this MOC. She's pretty much just a color swap Toothless, but she does have these teal tiles on the bottom to give her a bit more of that glowing color. It's time to lay out a plan forward for this MOC because this is an ambitious build, and if we want to have it done by the time the live action movie comes out on June 13th, we're going to need to have 2 phases for this project. For phase 1, our goal is to have a version of this build based on How to Train Your Dragon 1, finished by the time the live action remake comes out on June 13th of 2025. This version is going to have lots of dragons, we're going to have the island of Berk, and then a Viking house and a Viking fire pit as well. For phase 2 of this project, we want to have the build done by September 4th so it can be displayed at BrickCon 2025. And this version is going to be set for How to Train Your Dragon 2, but also have a hidden world on the underneath side of the build that wasn't present in the first phase. We're also going to have more dragons, the Bewilderbeast, more Viking structures, and the ice structures that are blown out by the Bewilderbeast as well. Let's get back to the dragons, and here's another look at the Bewilderbeast I showed at the end of last episode. This is what I'm calling a brick sketch, not to be confused with the LEGO sets, but this is kind of just a sketch of what I want the build to look like, sort of the size. That gray piece in the middle is supposed to be where the mouth is, the Technic pieces are those tusks, and then we have 2 little eyes as well. So this is just a sketch model of what I want the build to look like in the end. It won't look like this in the final draft. 2 official LEGO sets I'm going to use in this build are these 2 dragons from LEGO Ninjago. I really like the size of them. I think they look really good next to Toothless, and they'll be a great way to add more dragons to the build. For some size variation, Ninjago also has these great little dragons in Ryu and the other little baby dragon. We also have these great dragons from the D&D minifigure set that came with the Tiefling minifigure. And luckily, I was able to grab a few extra of these minifigures so we can open those up right now. Not only am I excited to use these awesome Tiefling minifigures while playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends, but they come with the super cute little dragon mold. I really love what LEGO did with this little character, and I'm glad to be able to add 3 more to the build here to scatter around Berk. I also want to do something with movement, and I think these characters are going to be great for that. Not only is Berk going to have lights, but it's going to have movement. I'm going to see if we can incorporate these boost motors from the LEGO Boost kit and bring some of the hidden world to life underneath with some flying dragons. And how I'm thinking we're going to use that is these little D&D dragons on some clear pieces, spinning around some of the structural supports so that it looks like they're flying. Today isn't only about dragons, we got some more rock work done as well. I modified one of the water tiles that sits in between the 2 modular sections to have some rock on it, so we can create a smooth line between the water and the beach section into the rock wall we built in the last episode. I use slopes to build up from the beach to the rock wall to connect the two so there's no weird gaps here, and I also built another little cliff side with some grass on top so we can have a little bit more scenery happening to break up the gray rocks. One of the best parts about building a MOC is getting to set up the minifigures and characters on the build, so I decided I'd show a little demo here for you today. Just placing some of those little dragons around really brings life to this build, and having a couple minifigure Vikings there to fight them off as well. I actually designed the rock wall to hold some of these characters, so there's a few ledges here where I can place the little dragons. And here's a look with 4 to 6 dragons just flying around battling the Vikings against the rock wall. That is all for today though. Let me know down in the comments what other dragons you want to see in this build and what other structures you might want to see as well. If you liked the video, make sure you like this video and subscribe to stay tuned for the next episode of Building Berk. We're going to have one every 2 weeks here leading up to the movie's release on June 13th, so we can make sure this MOC gets done. So thank you all so much for watching, and remember, it's always a beautiful day in the Brickstorm.